The people who told you something was safe were not lying. They had data. They had credentials. They had models built by intelligent people who had spent careers thinking about exactly this kind of risk. And they were wrong in a way that no amount of expertise protected them from being wrong. That is not a story about bad experts. That is a story about what expertise actually is and what it cannot do. You have trusted institutions before. A doctor who said the procedure was low risk. A financial structure someone described as conservative. A system an expert called stable. You had no reason to doubt them. You were not being naive. You were doing what rational people do, which is defer to the people whose job it is to know. And sometimes it worked. And sometimes it did not. And the difference between those two outcomes had less to do with the quality of the expert than with whether the thing they were assessing had ever been tested by conditions it was not designed for. The failure does not announce itself. It arrives as a total surprise to the people who were paid to see it coming. And afterwards they explain it. Clearly. Persuasively. In a way that makes you wonder how anyone could have missed it. But they missed it. All of them. With all of their data and all of their models and all of their years of experience pointing in the wrong direction. There is a specific reason this keeps happening. It is not incompetence, it is the structure of how systems get assessed and declared safe. When experts evaluate risk, they build their models from what has already occurred. They look at historical data, past failures, documented events, and known variables. The model identifies the risks that exist within the range of prior experience. It assigns probabilities. It produces a number. And if that number falls below a certain threshold, the system gets classified as safe. The problem is that the event capable of destroying the system is never in the historical record. By definition, it has not happened yet. And so the model, built correctly and run accurately using all available data, produces an answer that is correct for everything that has already happened, and completely wrong about the thing that has not happened yet, but is coming. Call this the failure of safe by prior experience. A system is declared safe because nothing in its history suggests otherwise. But the history only contains the conditions the system has already survived. It says nothing about the conditions it has never faced. Think about a bridge that has carried traffic for 40 years without incident. Every assessment looks back at 40 years of safe use and concludes the bridge is safe. And it is safe. For the loads it has carried. For the conditions it has already faced. The assessment cannot tell you what happens on the 41st year when something outside the design envelope arrives. In the spring of 1980, the Sunshine Skyway Bridge in Tampa Bay, Florida, is one of the longest bridges in the United States. It has been open for 11 years. It carries tens of thousands of vehicles across Tampa Bay every day. On the morning of May 9th, a freighter called the MV Summit Venture is navigating the bay in a sudden squall that reduces visibility to near zero. The ship's pilot, John Lero, cannot see the bridge until he is almost underneath it. The ship strikes the bridge's support column at full speed. A 1,400-foot section of the bridge collapses into Tampa Bay. 35 people die when their vehicles fall into the water below. 6 of them are passengers on a Greyhound bus. Every safety assessment of that bridge had rated it as structurally sound. Every rating was accurate. The bridge was structurally sound. The risk that destroyed it was not structural, it was navigational. A vessel under reduced visibility in deteriorating weather conditions. A scenario outside the parameters of the bridge's safety assessment because the safety assessment was built around the bridge itself, not around every possible interaction between the bridge and the world around it. Nobody who rated that bridge as safe was wrong about what they were measuring. They were wrong about what they were not measuring, and they did not know they were not measuring it because the event that required them to measure it had never happened before. The deeper mechanism is not that experts miss things. It is that systems develop a track record of safety, and the track record becomes evidence of safety in a way that quietly closes off the possibility of questioning it. The longer a system operates without incident, the more confident its assessors become. The more confident they become, the less they look for the thing that would shatter the confidence. The absence of failure gets read as proof of safety, rather than as a growing accumulation of unexplored assumptions. In 1966, a dam called the Vajont Dam in northeastern Italy had been in operation for 3 years. It was at the time one of the tallest dams in the world. Italian engineers had designed and built it to precise specifications. Geologists had flagged concerns about the stability of Monte Toc, the mountain above the reservoir, but the project went ahead. On October 9th, a massive landslide sent approximately 260 million cubic meters of rock into the reservoir. The resulting wave overtopped the dam and obliterated several villages in the valley below. Nearly 2,000 people died. The dam itself remained structurally intact. It had been built exactly to specification. The specification had simply not accounted for the mountain, your doctor, your financial institution, your government regulator, the safety board that approved the product you use every day. They are all running models built from prior experience. The models are accurate within the range of what has already happened, and the thing that will eventually expose their limits is by definition outside that range. You have been reading the absence of past failure as evidence of future safety. You do not do this deliberately. Nobody does. It is the most natural inference in the world. If something has worked 1,000 times without a serious problem, 1,001 seems like a reasonable bet. But the structure of certain failures does not work that way. In some systems, the longer the run of safe outcomes, the more quietly the unexamined risks have been compounding. The track record of the system is not evidence that it has been tested. It is evidence that the conditions that would test it have not yet arrived. The principle is this: safety assessed by a history of non-failure is not safety. It is the absence of a test. Before you accept an expert declaration that something is safe, ask one question. Has this system ever encountered the conditions that would reveal its actual limits? Not the conditions it was designed for. Not the conditions it has already survived. The conditions it has never faced. A bridge that has never been struck by a fully loaded vessel under zero visibility. A financial structure that has never faced a simultaneous failure of the assumptions it was built on. A medical treatment that has never been given to a patient with the exact combination of factors that change how it works. If the answer is no, the safety rating tells you something real and something limited at the same time. It tells you the system has survived everything it has already faced. It tells you nothing about the thing it has not faced yet. What you give up is the comfort of expert consensus as a proxy for actual safety. Consensus means the experts agree. It does not mean the event that breaks the system has been tested and survived. Those are not the same thing. Treating them as the same thing is exactly how the people in every one of these stories walked into the situation that destroyed them. What you get in return is a more honest relationship with risk. Not paranoia, not the refusal to trust anything, but the habit of asking what conditions this system has never been tested against before, concluding that the absence of past failure means safety going forward. The experts who declared these things safe were not negligent. They were doing their jobs accurately inside the limits of what their models could see. The limits were the problem, and the limits were invisible to the people who built the models, because the event that exposed them had not yet arrived. You have accepted safety declarations built on the same structure many times. Some of them were right. Some of them have not been tested yet. The ones that have not been tested yet are the ones still waiting. Next video. The pattern behind every institutional failure in this series is not that warning signs were ignored. It is that warning signs were present, assessed, and correctly classified as low-probability events within the existing model. The reason low-probability assessments keep producing high-consequence outcomes has a specific mathematical structure that most people have never been shown. Once you see it, the way institutions calculate and communicate risk will never read the same way again. The number they give you is not the number you think it is.